In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make sure that your 2-point perspective is correct. Now, you can see mine. I've done this many times before, and you can see my hands are messy, my paper is smudged. However, it's okay if it's a little bit messy at this point. It's going to get better, but there's a couple of things that it absolutely needs to be, even if it's not perfectly neat. There's a couple of things that needs to be. The first thing is that we need to be able to see the ticks on the true height line so that we can verify that this part is correct. We also need to be able to see the ticks on the ground line for the true height line to make sure that this is correct. The only two indications that someone can use to verify the accuracy of this is to make sure that the distance between the tick marks here and here is the same distance as the tick marks here and here, because that ensures that you have the correct scale in the two places where you can measure scale, which is the true height line and the ground line of the true height line. So that's one thing that you can do to check that must be correct. The other thing that must be correct is the horizon line must be at around 5 feet or so, and it's got to be straight, and that your left vanishing point and your right vanishing point are at the same height on the horizon line, and they are the distance between the two sides of the left and right walls. That must be correct. The other thing that you need to do is make sure that all of your lines are consistently drawn. You can see here there's a couple lines I have to fix right here to make sure that it looks really good. And then the last thing you need to be able to check is that your squares towards the back part, as they approach the true height wall, get thinner. They condense at a somewhat regular interval towards the back wall, so they're thinner against the back wall, okay, and they get wider as they approach the front of the, like where the viewer's standing. The other thing that you can do to check is to make sure that the squares in this middle part right here are diamonds, essentially, squares on a 45-degree angle, and they're going to get distorted as they get closer to the viewer. But like I'm looking at these right here, and I'm making sure look, you can see right here they're getting a little squished. Operator error. It happens. We're not machines, okay? We're just doing our best. We're people, so it's okay if there's a little bit of errors here and there. But you can see here, probably I didn't get exactly right on top of the lines here to create them, and that's okay. But for the most part, like here's a nice example that it looks like I knew what I was doing. Around here's an example like I knew what I was doing, okay? Starting to get back here, they're getting real condensed, so they're going to be real squished. There's a nice one that shows I know what I'm doing, okay? So just kind of have an awareness that all of the little things here, every little error where you don't get right on top of a line, where there's a lack of precision in drawing those tick marks, there's a lack of precision in connecting the very center of that ginormous vanishing point now, and connecting here, you can see that even that line's a little bit off. So you can start to see where mistakes were made, and that's okay. But what your instructor's looking at are those main things: location of vanishing points, correct scale and consistent scale on your true height line, and the ground line of your true height line, and then of course making sure that all the fan of depth lines are drawn correctly, and that you're starting to see some diamonds towards the center of the grid. Okay?